What the Heck? A Story Wars-inspired tale. Written and read by Bettina Levy. Our main characters. A golem. This Iron Man is held together by his electromagnetic core and unwavering confidence. And a leprechaun. This tiny man is so lucky that when he flips a coin, it always lands as 2 coins. The special object. A winter wand. This ice device can freeze with ease. Our story takes place in the Trapped Temple, a temple built to honor the spirit of giant swinging blades and hidden spike pits. Dr. Spearmint finished tightening the last screw, took a step back from his project, and adjusted his thick glasses with a smile, looking up at the finished product with great pride in his heart. At last! Mine creation is completed! On the operating table lay a variety of large metallic boxes arranged in such a way that they seemed to make the form of a giant robot, only its limbs weren't connected to each other. But they didn't have to be. The scientist went to the large generator standing up against the wall and flipped the switch. At once the room buzzed with electricity, and the different parts of the robot became connected by glowing blue sparks of electromagnetic energy. The parts were still separate, but now the pieces were linked, holding together just as he had hoped. The robot's eyes slowly opened and came alive, glowing white. Ha 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 ha! Yes! It is alive! The old man's celebrations were interrupted by a light, polite rap on the lab door. He adjusted his glasses again, wondering who it could be. Straightening his meticulously clean white coat, the famous, esteemed scientist, Dr. Hector Heck Spearmint, went to answer the door. When he opened it, however, he didn't see anyone, just a long, empty hall. "Look below, Doc! I be down here!" a lilting voice said, seemingly from out of nowhere. Dr. Spearmint looked towards the floor and found the voice's owner. He was a bit surprised to see a most minuscule man, no taller than a nickel, standing upright on its side, as was proven by the gold coin the man held next to him, as if for comparison. He was a pale little creature dressed in a bright green costume, with wavy brown hair lying atop an impish face, and a 4-leaf clover tucked behind his ear. "You weren't a-thinkin' I be the type to be knick-knacker ya? Knock on your door and run away giggling like an idiot." "Ah, welcome, Herr O'Brien. I wasn't expecting you until tomorrow. Come in. I was just finishing up my project over here." The doctor stood aside from the door and waved the little man into his lab. "Thanks a lot, Heck. You be a grand old bucko." The green-clad midget bounced into the room, holding onto his coin as it flew in huge arcs and left a rainbow trail that faded after a moment. The coin hopped in place for a while in the center of the room when, with a loud snap of his fingers and a poof of green smoke, the little man transformed in midair and grew to a more proper human size, though he was still a good foot or 2 shorter than the scientist. The little coin flipped in the air for a moment, finally landing in his open breast pocket. "How are things a-going, Specky Heck?" "Wow, phew-wee!" exclaimed O'Brien, waving a hand in front of his nose like he smelled something awful. "Seems to me as if you be spending a wee too much time in the lab. I can smell a Benji off of you, something fierce. Think you can spare a mint, Dr. Spearmint?" The doctor's expression was deadpan as he fixed his glasses atop his nose. Leprechauns, they thought they were oh so amusing. They were short on height, but never on wit. Yes, a funny joke, Lucky. I have never heard that fun before." He turned and walked back towards the table where his great experiment lay. "Aw, don't be like that, Hector. You know I only be a-pulling your leg." Lucky O'Brien laughed. He skipped and followed the scientist to see what it was he was working on, then got distracted by one of the interesting inventions that were just lying around. "Ooh, shiny!" The leprechaun grabbed a crystal wand with a candy cane striped handle, laden with buttons, dials, and switches. He waved it about. "What does this queer little contraption do, Doc? You working a little for old St. Nick on the side? Please, if you would not to touch that!" Hector pulled the wand out of Lucky's pale hands. "This is not a Christmas toy. This is a freeze ray I have been working on that is not yet completed." "Away with you, laddie. A freeze ray? I don't believe you. How does it work?" Lucky asked eagerly. The scientist ignored his question, placing the freeze ray wand gently back on the table Lucky had picked it up from. If you would kindly follow me, Herr O'Brien, you will see what I have been developing for you. He led the leprechaun to the big operating table, making sure he didn't touch anything else with his grubby little fingers. When Lucky laid his brown, childlike eyes on the giant robot, they became even bigger and wider in amazement. Well, my word and willywigs, this is fantastic! The robot turned its head to Lucky, and with a mechanical whirring, it sat up on the table and moved its legs to hang off the edge. Yes, rise, mine beautiful creation, rise! Said Dr. Spearmint, loud and commanding, making a lifting motion with his arms in encouragement. The bulky bot jumped off the bed with a heavy thud, its round metal feet leaving 2 slight dents in the ground. Brilliant job, Doc! Never seen a thing like it in me life! Ha ha. What exactly is it we looking at over here? The robot's body spun in Lucky's direction with a whir. It couldn't turn its head, as it was firmly attached to its torso. I am Gull, and my name stands for General Operator of Linked Electromagnetism. The golem spoke in a mechanical monotone, making emphasis on each syllable it spoke. Well, knock me down with a feather. It can talk too? You've right outdone yourself, Hector. Great job. Dr. Spearmint took off his glasses and polished them with his coat, grinning to himself. Thank you, Herr O'Brien, thank you. Ja, this would be my proudest achievement, the golem. I have been experimenting a lot in the area of robotics. I developed a system for easy movement because, you know, too many robots, their movements are too stiff and rigid. Also, the power of the golem's electromagnetic core is a little weak, so I was forced to use a metal alloy that was light enough for it to lift, and yet tough enough for it to be difficult to destroy. The leprechaun had been nibbling at the end of his 4-leaf clover like a farmer chewing on straw, as he tried to attend to the scientist's wordy explanations. He rapped his knuckles on the golem's orange arm, and found it solid as a wall. Excellent! I'll take him! The scientist blinked at Lucky in surprise, adjusting his glasses. What? You mean, right this minute? Of course, Pally O'Malley. There be no time for wasting or foostering, cried Lucky, giving the doctor a hard slap on the back. I be headed off on the first plane tomorrow, and flying over Dolus Templum, the Temple of Deceit, otherwise known as the Trapped Temple. The Trapped Temple? Whatever would you go there for, mine friend? Because, Hector me Paddy, I be aiming to be the first leprechaun ever to retrieve the idol of Enricio from the heart of the temple. When he got an uncomprehending look from the doctor, he explained further, pacing with excitement and making dramatic gestures. Many have tried, but all have failed to survive the trapped temple, thanks to all them swinging blades and hidden spike pits. You'd think anyone who goes in there would be a fool, acting the maggot to even attempt such a thing, but the reason we do it is because that bust of Enricio's head can turn anything into gold. Gold, he said. Well, Dr. Spearmint knew that leprechauns would do anything for gold, even if they already had pots of it. They always wanted more. Is that so? Yes siree, heck. And now since you've made me this here thing, this great old lump of effing metal over there— That is not what my name stands for, interrupted the monotoned robot. The scientist and leprechaun both looked at the robot with surprise. It had been so quiet they had nearly forgotten it was there and listening to what they were saying. It stands for General Operator of Linked Electromagnetism. Right, said Lucky. As I was saying, as long as I got me this golem fella, I won't have to worry about a thing. Don't you see? If he can take a beating like he say he can, he'll be a fantastic help to me. He'll be able to set off all the traps for me, and I'll be unstoppable. Oh, you would bring the golem into a quest like that, right away? He hasn't even been tested in the field yet, and he is the only one of his kind. I was hoping to run a few tests and experiments on him, just to be sure that he works as he should. The leprechaun made a motion with his hand as if to say, Yeah, sure. It's alright, Doc, there be no need for that. I trust you've done a great job on this one. You be one of the best scientists I've ever worked with in this place. Dr. Spearmint pushed his glasses closer to his face. Well, thank you, mine friend. I would hope that the golem will serve you well. But do tell me, Herr O'Brien, why do you need someone to set off the traps? Can't you simply shrink down to your leprechaun size and hop on your coin to reach the trap? I can't. No magic be allowed in the temple. Lucky shrugged helplessly. That's why I be coming to you for help, boyo. He walked up to the robot and patted its metal side. So what do you say, Golem? Ready to join me on me epic quest for fame, fortune, and glory? Golem turned to Lucky and blinked his eyes at him. I be taking that as a yes, cheered the leprechaun. Well, I best be off now. Thank you kindly, Dr. Spearmint. With that, Lucky pulled his gold coin out of his pocket, gave it a toss, and while it was flipping in midair, he shrank down to his original tiny size and caught the coin, riding the rainbow out the door. I be seeing you at the airport in the morning, he cried behind him. The robot and the scientist were now alone in the lab. The golem turned to face his creator, his expressionless face unchanging, but perhaps his manner was a little halting and hesitant. Dr. Hector Spearmint, am I, Golem, really going to join this leprechaun Lucky O'Brien on his quest for the Dallas Templum's idol of Inretio? The scientist smiled at the golem and adjusted his glasses once more. Yes, you will, mein proudest achievement, but do not worry, nothing bad will happen to you. I will be right behind you all the way, and making absolutely sure of that. Dr. Spearmint walked over to the table where he had laid down the freeze ray wand and picked it up. He flipped a little switch on the handle, and it powered up, making the room dance and glow in crystal colors. Lucky O'Brien may not know this, but he has picked the wrong scientist to mess with.